What if I told you that banks don't lend real money? What if I told you that the Federal Reserve Act actually proves this? Today we're breaking down Section 16 of the Federal Reserve Act and how it exposes the biggest financial scam in history. I want to ask you guys this question. If money is just a piece of paper backed by nothing, how can banks claim that they're lending it to you? This is something we plan to unpack by overcoming and breaking down the Federal Reserve Act and how it applies to loans, denials, how it applies to our financial system, and hopefully I can be able to point you guys in the right direction to be able to overcome the fraud and deception. Okay? When I say that debt is not real, when I say that you can discharge debt, okay, this is one of the essential pieces of information that I'll be able to help you do that. All right? Now, before we dive into this, like, comment, and subscribe. Because if you want to continue to see more bangers like this, keep investing in me and commenting the things that you want to learn more about, more things that you want to unpack, and all the new people, right, that even said in the comment section to my last video, the Federal Reserve Act. As you can see, I'm right here breaking it down for you. All right. So once again, thank you guys for watching. Another thing I want to note that this is not legal advice. Okay, I'll talk about some concepts here, but it's only for educational purposes only. Govern yourself accordingly and do your own due diligence. All right. Now, just to get straight into it, man, what is the Federal Reserve Act? The Federal Reserve Act, you can find this on the, you can find the Federal Reserve Act on federalreserve.gov. Okay. So again, it's a government website that is literally putting out this information. Now, I'm not going to read this entire thing, but if you guys are interested and want to learn more about this, do your due diligence. Okay. So I'll just read the first aspect of that. Federal Reserve notes to be issued at the discretion of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System for the purpose of making advances to the Federal Reserve banks through the Federal Reserve agents as here and after set forth and for no other purpose as hereby authorized. The said notes shall be obligations of the United States and shall be receivable by all national and member banks and Federal Reserve banks and all taxes, customs, and other public dues. They shall be redeemed in lawful money on the demand of at the Treasury Department of the United States, in the city of Washington, District of Columbia, or at any Federal Reserve bank. Okay? It also breaks down this will essentially break down the whole aspect of the Federal Reserve System. Okay? I talk about the book Modern Money Mechanics, and a lot of us can go and read the book Modern Money Mechanics so that you guys can be able to see more of a visual representation of what is going on behind the scenes. But I would suggest anybody come here and kind of just do their due diligence. It will talk about the aspect of gold. It's going to talk about all these things that I'm about to cover right now. Okay? So first things first, man, I want to talk about the fact that this is something that was passed in 1913, okay? And essentially this was created, and this is the modern central banking system, okay? And it's been like this for over 100 years. Section 16 specifically deals with the Federal Reserve notes, the paper money, and how money is created. So I want to talk about some of the key points of this section, okay? So one of the key things that I learned under the Federal Reserve Act, Section 16, is the fact that Federal Reserve notes are not backed by gold or real money, okay? The act originally required money to be backed by gold reserves, okay? But in 1933, the gold standard was removed. This is why I talk about House Joint Resolution 192 that essentially eliminated the gold standard, meaning money became just paper backed by debt, okay? And the Federal Reserve prints money, but the real trick is banks create money from loans. So think about that for a second. When you apply for something, that bank essentially takes your application, or it's a promissory note, and they then take it to the Federal Reserve and exchange it for the Federal Reserve notes, okay? So essentially, when you apply for something, that money is already released, okay? Or as a matter of fact, you already have given them the security that gave them the money, okay? So it really begs the question, like, you know, damn, well, why am I paying on these bills? Why is there interest attached to it? Why are they calling this a loan? Let's talk a little bit more about that. See, banks create money from debt, not deposits. All right. So Section 16 allows banks to create money from thin air when issuing loans. Okay. And the reason why is because when you apply for something, they're able to multiply that, whatever you apply for, by 10 times. And what they're supposed to do is loan that out to other people. Okay. So when you take out a loan, the money is not coming from a bank's vault. All right. It's being created at that moment. Okay. So let me now move further. So here's the proof. Okay. When you look at 12 USC 411, it says issuance to reserve banks, nature of obligation and redemption. So when we talk about coupon redemption, things in that nature, this also plays a factor. All right. It says Federal Reserve notes to be issued at the discretion of the board of directors. And this is almost the same thing that was in the Federal Reserve Act. It says said notes shall be obligations of the United States and shall be receivable by all national and member banks and Federal Reserve banks for all taxes, customs, and other public dues. They shall be redeemed in lawful money on the demand of the Treasury Department of the United States. Okay? So this is something that Congress has put in the Constitution. Okay? This further proves that money is debt and not actual value. Essentially, when you apply for something or when this money is pulled out, it now becomes an obligation to the United States. So if you think about your debt, right? Your debt is an obligation of the United States. If you go to 18 USC 8, it defines what an obligation is. You dig me? It says the term obligation or other security of the United States includes all bonds, certificates of indebtedness, national bank currency, Federal Reserve notes, Federal Reserve bank notes, coupons, United States notes, Treasury notes, gold certificates, silver certificates, fractional notes, certificates of deposits, bills, checks, drafts for money. So anytime you see these words in and on your bill statement, anytime you see them requiring some type of Federal Reserve note or some type of currency or a certificate of indebtedness, just know that they're literally asking you for something that is obligated of the United States. Or as a matter of fact, if they say that something is an obligation or it's your obligation, they are falsely misleading you. Okay? Because it clearly says that obligations are of the United States. Okay? So let's talk about what loans really are. Okay? Loans are really just a ledger trick. Okay? And it's not real lending. So when a bank loans you money, it simply types numbers into your account. I talked about this in my previous video. All right. The Federal Reserve Act allows it, which making it legal fraud. See, the system is rigged and the system is actually against you. Okay. So banks don't lend their own money, depositors' money, or even the Federal Reserve's money. Okay. They create it from your promise to pay. Dig me? Now, it doesn't say inherently that they make money out of thin air, but what it does say is that the Federal Reserve is not really giving them cash. Okay? So if they are not getting cash, how can they give cash to you? They also say that they do deposits. Okay? When you look at the definition of deposit in the Constitution, it says that deposits are unpaid balances. Okay? So anytime someone says, oh, I'm about to deposit something in your account, there's essentially an unpaid balance. All right. It really has you thinking. Okay. And also at the same time, they're using your promise to pay as collateral, as a proof of income. Okay. So again, how this act essentially just exposes banking fraud. Okay. Number one, the banks claim they lend you money, but they don't. Okay. It's clear under the Federal Reserve Act that it proves that banks don't lend actual cash to create loans because they don't actually get cash. But instead, banks monetize your signature on a loan agreement. Okay? The Federal Reserve and banks are essentially running a legal Ponzi scheme. So we could say we want, oh, pyramid scheme this, pyramid scheme that. But if you are part of the banking system or you're using the banks, you're part of a Ponzi scheme that's actually legal. Okay? Money only exists because of debt. Without new loans, the system will collapse. This is why The Fair Credit Reporting Act says that 15 U.S.C. 1681, congressional findings and statement of purpose, it says the banking system is dependent upon fair and accurate credit reporting. Inaccurate credit reports directly impair the efficiency of the banking system. Why? Because unfair credit reporting methods undermine the public's confidence, which is essential to the continued functioning of the banking system. Now, why would they say that? Because if there are no new loans being created, then how do banks make money? Okay? They have no other way they have no other collateral. Okay? So essentially, they create money from thin air and charge you interest on it and then repossess assets when you default on a fake loan. Okay? Think about that for a second. You feel me? We go out here and we apply for things, not knowing that they're making the money out of thin air, thinking that we're getting a loan when we're actually not. They're creating money out of thin air. And then they charge you interest on it. And you're just going to let that happen to you. Okay. Again, the whole premise of this is not for you guys to start screaming at the banks. And I'm going to have a strategy at the end I'm going to talk about. But we have to just break down this aspect so you guys understand where I'm coming from and why I even challenge the banks, why I even challenge debt collectors. Okay. So this is the part that makes it more of a Ponzi scheme, is the fact that banks demand repayment on money that never existed. All right. When a loan is issued, new money is created. Okay. It says it under the Federal Reserve Act that it is being created. Or we can even go to 12 USC 1831. Is it? Oh, I forget the law that says it, but it says that banks are literally putting in accounting book entries. Okay. When you apply for something, they're literally just typing in numbers. Okay, they're doing deposits, okay, which is explicitly explained in the Constitution that it's an unpaid balance once again. But when the loan is repaid, the money is destroyed, okay, except for the interest, which was never created. Okay, so think about that, man. They're creating new money, but as soon as you start paying it, that new money is destroyed. Okay. So this forces people to go deeper into debt while keeping the system running. So it's a constant cycle of keeping people in debt. Why? Because if they keep people in debt, they'll continue to ask for more loans and they'll continue to get in more debt and they'll continue to make those banks even more money. You feel me? So here's the big question. All right. If banks don't lend real money, how can they deny you? Okay. If banks aren't risking their own money, why do they have the power to deny people credit? If they control credit access, not because of risk, but because of control. So this connects to the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, 15 U.S.C. 1691, Basel records, and other laws that allow them to deny loans without lending real money. See, they use those laws as a smokescreen. They make you think that they are actually loaning you something. And if you don't know that they're not loaning you something, then you will constantly think that they are not discriminating against you. Okay? They also base things off of their credit worthiness. But again, they're the ones who create the definition of credit worthiness. Okay? This is why for people that have bad credit, they're unable to get the loans that they want. They're unable to apply and get approved for the things that they want to, because there are things put in place that legally rig it for you. Okay. But it's only until you understand these laws and understand these systems so that you can be able to overcome the bullshit that they actually are putting you through. Okay. So here's how to use this knowledge against the banks and overcome their bullshit. All right. The first things first, man, you want to ask banks to prove their consideration. Okay. What actual money did they lend? Okay. So when you look at 3-501, which explains what a presentment is, you have a right to demand if there's actually real debt. You have a right to demand original proof of something. Okay. And there's more laws that back this up, but you have a right to ask the person who says, hey, I loaned you money, for the proof. Did you actually loan me money? And until you provide that proof right there, I don't have to pay you back a dime. Okay. So number 2, you're supposed to utilize contract law. Okay. To be able to challenge them. Okay. A lot of us don't understand that when it gets to the premise of, yes, you can challenge the debt if they can somehow prove that you owe debt. Okay, now is based on the actual value and consideration of the loan. Okay, if you are able to say, hey, you owe me money, okay, we'll prove that you actually have given me money. Okay, because I don't remember getting any money at all. Now you're challenging the contract. You're not challenging some other bullshit. Okay? Number 3, learn how to fight back against the legal system. Okay? How you learn is by understanding the administrative process, understanding things like what a presentment is, understanding these laws and how to communicate with debt collectors through the administrative process. And number 4, expose this scam by spreading the knowledge. Tell everybody that you know. Okay? Tell everybody that this is a system that is rigged. Okay? And this is not information that you have to keep to yourself. The thing is, it's already online, but most people don't like to read. Most people don't like to uncover truths. Most people like to sit in the blind. Okay? So now that you know the truth, what do you think, bro? What are you going to do about it? Put it in the comment section. Should banks have the power to deny loans if they don't lend real money? Okay? Comment below. Do you think that Federal Reserve System is a scam? Okay? And lastly, I have the complete debt guide that breaks down how to be able to communicate with debt collectors and overcome the legal system. I also have a program through Solo that allows you to be able to overcome lawsuits of debt, okay? And helps you understand how to communicate and negotiate with debt collectors, okay? This is just the start. You dig me? If you understand the laws and the position that you are in, you can actually overcome them. But if you sit and say, well, oh, this stuff isn't real, but I'm reading the stuff to you, I'm literally breaking it down to you. It's not about, oh, I want to get some money or there is no money out there for me. No, it's not that. The money is created. It's unlimited amount of money. This is why I tell people to get loans. Use that and buy assets. Okay? It's not about you trying to get reparations and things in that nature. It's about you playing the system correctly. Okay, don't play it in a way that is rigged for you. It's only rigged to the people who don't know the information. You feel me? If you know the information, then it won't feel rigged. You dig me? I'm coming from a place where I don't think that it's rigged anymore. I used to when I first started. But now that I know the laws and I know that I can challenge them on these things like the legal consideration, now I can challenge them on the fact that if they actually loan me money, or I can even challenge them on the simple fact that they must provide proof, or I can challenge the credit bureau on whether I've given them written consent to provide this information, or I can challenge whether accurate information or the fairness of something, or even the Metro 2 compliance of something, right? And things have to be 100% correct, 100% accurate, not 99%. I can't get a letter saying that it's verified. Well, if it's verified, prove to me how you verified it. See, the whole thing is based on trust and proof. If you trust them and what they say to you, guess what? They're going to do whatever they want to you. You feel me? The system is only rigged to people who don't want to understand the laws. The system is only rigged to people who don't want to read. The system is only rigged to a person who doesn't believe this. Guess what? Yes, you're going to hate the United States. You're going to think that there's no way for you to grow in the United States if you aren't learning the system. Learn your consumer laws. Learn your rights because you are protected. The thing is, they're not about to come out the blue and say, oh, you're protected. They're not. I'm sorry. It says we the people in the Constitution because we the people have the actual power. We have to be the ones to whistleblow. So I can't be the only one expressing this stuff and teaching people these things. If you guys can go and teach other people, then go ahead and do it. If you guys grab the complete debt guide, learn how to do it, then yes, go teach other people too. Don't do it for free. I mean, obviously, do it for free in the ways that you want to, like I'm doing it for free right now online. But for the people that want extended help, you can book consultations with me. And there's true value in sitting down and having a conversation with me and actually understanding where I'm coming from and knowing how to apply these laws. Or you can figure it out for yourself. I'm putting the info out there for you. You dig me? So down below, check out the complete debt guide. You feel me? Do your own research. Do your own due diligence. All right? If you want more of a streamlined process, the links are down below. From starting your own business and getting no doc loans to discharging your debt. You feel me? And if you want to get more free games, subscribe for more content. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Ha!